It is too strong. It is way too strong. Broken image. Broken image. Mirror image. Yeah, we're going to talk about this ability. Oh my gosh, that was a Freudian slip if ever I heard. I didn't even mean to say that. I just ended up coming up with it. So my problem with mirror image is it's busted, right? That's the straightforward. It works on crit. So the image works on crit. It also works with items. So any level of items are going to make your images super strong. It removes debuffs. It's got a stupidly short cooldown, and Blizzard increasing the cooldown by an extra 2 seconds is going to have next to no impact. You can counter it. As the player playing the mirror image, you can counter any problems with a health potion and Shadow Hunter healing, which is basically in 95% of Orc games, the second hero is a Shadow Hunter. So you just heal him back up, and then he does the mirror image again, and then you've got a whole bunch of full health units, or next to full health units, to start tanking again for however long you need it. Blade Master pulls back, gets another heal, comes back in, mirror image, close to full health, and you keep rinsing and repeating that. And this is a level 10 Blade Master, so it's a bit extreme, but he takes 200% damage, right? But that's still 1500 health here in those 3 images. And that's a crazy amount of health. Even if it's like only an extra 600 to 700 health, there's an extra grunt or something like that. It just, and then we're talking like super early game, and he can just keep spamming this ability. The good thing is Dispel exists, and you would just say use Dispel, just use Dispel. But it's not quite as straightforward as that. You have to Dispel spam like crazy. Look at the cooldown on this. The cooldown on this is longer than the bloody Blade Masters. Look at the damage. Those are fucking illusions, by the way. Those are illusions on that priest. They shouldn't be doing damage. I almost lost the priest there. This Blade Master helped out by tanking some of that damage. And he's already out of mana. And then he just goes, whoop! Off we go again. And you say, just have more priests. But what happens when you get into those games where you've just been exhausted like that? You've been exhausted by this stupid ability that's stupidly cheap. 80 mana. It's a joke. It's way too good on every front. We're going to take a quick look at this, right? It's just too good. Come here. Right, so you got 80 mana. Way too cheap. 95 mana. Cheapest, in my opinion. Probably 100 mana. Alright? Now, he's an agility hero that doesn't typically have that much mana, but one thing I've noticed in my games is Blade Master tends to cast this a lot. And every single time you think, oh, he's out of mana now, he can't surely cast it again. It looks like his mana bar is like that big. He still does it. So, yeah, we need to deal with that. Way too bloody good. It shouldn't be doing damage. It takes 200% damage, which you think, right, is good. But you still can't even notice most of the time which one's the real one. And that is the other biggest problem, is it takes too long. The burden on the player to detect which one is the real one is way too high. The effort level for that player to look at all of the Blade Masters, not take into account anything else that's happening in the fight, any of the other micro that needs to happen, any of the other units that need attention. This Blade Master gets pure attention. Which one is the real one? Which one? I'm pretty sure that's the real one. I just saw my unit take quite a significant amount of damage there. That has to be the real one. Okay, I'm going to focus that one. It takes quite a while to kill it, and then you realise it was a bloody image all along. It wasn't even the real one, and it took you ages to bloody kill this thing. Even at 200% damage. Because they're so tanky. Demon Hunter and Blade Master are such stupidly tanky heroes. They got such high armor by default. And then if they get any items, Ring of Protection, like I say, it works with the images. They just become even more invincible. So you really cannot tell. And then by the time you do tell, it's too late. You've lost the fight completely. And even if you get it right 2, maybe 3 times in a row, that's if you're as lucky as you can be. The Blade Master still has enough mirror image in the tank to keep going beyond that point. I'm telling you, I've fought this fight many times now, and I'm so sick of it. So sick of it to the point that it actually made me almost stop playing. Just this one thing. I stopped complaining about Night Elf because of how busted Orc mirror image is. I actually want to see more Night Elf on the ladder now. And that's saying something, because if you've ever seen me, I hate Night Elf with every fiber of my being, and wanting to see Night Elf over Orc. Yeah, there's a reason why 90% of the ladder is Orc. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but trust me, there's a lot of Orc on ladder. Oh, it's an Orc again. Oh, it's an Orc again. And if it's not an Orc, it's a Night Elf. Wonder why that is. It lasts a stupidly long time. 60 seconds? That's crazy. So there's so much this spell has going for it that's insane. Oh yeah, don't forget it actually does 20% damage too. Why? Don't know. Shouldn't do any damage really. That was basically a buff that was put in, but it shouldn't do any damage. This is to help make it harder to tell which one is the real Blade Master, but at the moment it's just too effective as it is. Even if it did no damage, it's still an effective meat shield, right? Even if you knew which Blade Master is the real one, you still got 1, 2, maybe 3 other Blade Master mirror images blocking your path. So you can't get round those. You can't micro your units around those. They're still acting as a wall, a shield to block. So the only answer is to have a crazy amount of Dispel, but most of the time, that's not enough even when you do have Dispel. This is another issue that's been with Necromancers in the past. Before I did this first as a human player, he was like, I'm going to make priests versus your Necromancer. I'm like, I'm just going to make more Necromancers. Guess who ran out of mana first? He ran out of mana first. So there's definitely the easy answer is just use Dispel. Just bring Dispel. That's the counter. Yeah, but in realistic fights, and especially when you don't have Dispel, then you're really screwed. You got like nothing going for you at that point. So let's see. I would say a quick thought off the top of my head to make mirror image still strong, but definitely nowhere near as obnoxious. Remove the stupid damage, so then the burden on the player to work out which one is the real one can be more applicable each time. And bear in mind, even if you get it right, they just mirror image again. So they're still going to keep mirror images. So you have to keep doing this game, this mini game within the game that you're already playing multiple times. And it's like the worst kind of mini game. It's not fun at all. It's tedious. It's horrible. And yeah, remove the damage. We don't need the damage, especially since it works with items. Definitely not. And that means it basically works on all your stats as well. So as you level up, your Blade Master gets stronger. That means your mirror images, by default, even if they had 0 items, are stronger. So it stacks way too much. Way too much. Remove damage. The 200% damage, that's fine. 1, 2, 3. Not a big fan of there being so many of them. I would personally prefer it to be 1, 2, 2 or something, but then that just seems weird. So probably has to be 1, 2, 3 for the time being. The cooldown, the biggest answer, if you weren't going to change anything else that I'm about to say, is you would just make the cooldown about 12 seconds. That way, the Blade Master couldn't spam the crap out of this thing. And you would actually get rewarded for trying to work out which one is the real one. So you either increase the cooldown to 12 seconds, or you keep it still stupidly short like they're currently trying to do, and you make the changes that I think you should make. So personally, cooldown should be 12 seconds, and then we can leave it. And then that will probably help fix the problem. But if we're not going to play that game, which I suspect you might not do, then we need to remove the damage. A cooldown can be whatever the 5 seconds is going to be. Duration is bloody long, but we can leave it at 60 seconds. And mana cost 100 mana. I hate this ability. I hate it, and other people hate it. My Stolen Cow says, Blade Illusion needs way more nerfs than the minor 2-second cooldown increase. It's utter BS how high level Blade is an auto win. Just retrain to mirror image, keep spamming summons with 1200 plus health and ridiculous damage, and you can't even remove the threat because they are resummoned so easily in 3 seconds. And even if that's changed to 5 seconds, that's nothing. Trust me. Look at this, right? Mirror image. Look at the cooldown. Off we go again. So add an extra couple of seconds to that, it's going to be nothing. It needs to be significant. It needs to be significant, like 10 to 12 second cooldown. They should be taking 3 to 4 times damage instead of the 2 times damage, and cooldown way longer, like 10 seconds, and duration much shorter, like 15 seconds. No, that's a bit overkill. If you're going to take a nerf, you've got to do it in sort of sensibility. You can't just completely nerf it to the ground. But like I say, easiest answer, 10 to 12 second cooldown would solve the problem, because people would just be like, well, what if you made the cooldown the same, but you made it cost more mana and stuff like that? Remember, you can use mana potions and stuff like that. And if the spell can still be stupidly strong just because you've got an extra mana potion or something like that, it doesn't really fix the problem. You fix the cooldown, that's the fundamental way of how the spell works. So then that helps. Watch any free-for-all replay, you'll see the Blade is ridiculous, like Dota power level in Warcraft 3. Watch any 1v1 replay where the ore reaches level 5 Blade. Honestly, just reaching a level 3 Blade Master is enough these days. They always just retrain mirror image. I've seen Orc completely demolish good Night Elf players like Lawlight, even when he's Demon Hunter's Superman mode. Orc even retrained to mirror image versus undead, even against destroyers. Dispel doesn't counter them at all because of their high health and short cooldown. Water Elemental or Farseer Wolves are much weaker than late game build illusions, and their cooldown are much longer, and they are much less tanky, and you don't instantly summon 3 of them. This nonsense has gone on long enough. Let's see what the people have said. My personal opinion is that the experiment to make illusions deal damage is simply a failed experiment. Agreed. It was interesting. I was like, oh, there's potential here. But it's horrible. It's horrible. Abort. And they should revert it to doing no damage and giving no experience. It was an exciting change. Oh, yeah, they give experience, but they give a paltry amount of experience, especially for the amount of effort it takes to kill them. It's nothing. It's minuscule. It was good that we tried it out, but the scaling has turned out too bonkers. It deals almost no damage at the start, but because it scales both with ability level and the Blade Master gets stronger, while the Blade Master already has another ability that does crits. So that works with it, by the way. If I didn't mention that beforehand, crit and items work with it. And those two stack together, so the crit stacks on items too. It's too much scaling all in one. Because it scales as hard as it does, it will inevitably always be either underpowered early game or overpowered late game or both. I think, honestly, the way to go for the ability is remove the damage component. Yes. That probably is the best fix. Because then at least it doesn't mean you're taking all that extra damage. You saw how much damage my priest was taking there. They're just illusion. They're fake. They're not even real. Remember, this ability did no damage beforehand, and then I'm like almost losing the priest there. These freaking crazy Blade Masters popping off. Keep the 80 mana cost and 3-second cooldown, but make illusions take less damage. Maybe only 150% even. This makes them very tanky. Keeps mirror images utility as a scout, tank, and self-cleanse, but doesn't take it. I think it's still too good for what it costs. It's so good. You know you would want it. You know you would have it if you could. If you could have it, you'd have it in a heartbeat. But doesn't make it a damage increase on top. Importantly, it makes it so mirror image and crit don't stack together anymore. So yeah, you could also deal with that. So if you didn't remove the damage, you would have to then at least remove the fact that items and crit work with it, because then it's really a lot of damage. But Blizzard aren't going to really know how to do that, so probably the realistic answer is just to remove the damage. That would be the best change. They do damage like in Dota and are annoying as hell to deal with late game. More Dota talk. That would probably be the best change. I think no way do you reduce the cost. No. It's too obnoxious. That's the part of the problem, is the fact that they can just spam the hell out of this spell as if it's nothing. It's a joke. They're taking the piss. They're taking the piss out of you, basically. Every time they spam this spell, they are actively taking the piss out of you. It would be like having Stormbolt on a 3-second cooldown or something. You'd be taking the piss. So what if tankiness started very low and went up while damage decreased? Oh, I see. That's interesting. So it does more damage as a level 1 ability, and then as you level it up, it actually becomes more of an effective tank. That would be effective for the early game, because then you could be using it to creep with the damage it can do. And then they wouldn't like it. They wouldn't like leveling it up to then lose damage, but that is an interesting concept. Like a lot of changes the balanced teams seem to do, something it's best just to leave. It's working as is. I also agree that reverting it to 0 damage, 0 XP is the right move. It's quite toxic. A few hours ago, Witty literally just rage quit his stream because of mirror image being broken and said we'll never play. Oh, wow, that's funny. It's come up. Until mirror image actually gets nerfed for real, instead of the 2-second cooldown warning. He was not in a good mood. Just revert the damage change. It broke free-for-all, and recently popular streamers from free-for-all just made posts about Orc being... Well, Orc is already crazy strong in free-for-all, so yeah, imagine... It really is horrible to play. You don't want a game that is horrible to play for the other player. When I was talking about Orb is slow, I'm a random player, but I prefer human. I don't want any race to have, like, something that makes it miserable for the other player. Like, you know, too many stuns, too many slows, anything that just makes the gameplay worse, more obnoxious. That's not a good thing for the game. Sure, it's a mechanic, but it's not a good one. Sticking 10 times the amount of health on a boss so it takes you 10 times the amount of time to kill it is a mechanic. Is it a good one? No. Just revert the damage change. Orcs busted. Will end up being a useless skill again. No, it's definitely not useless. For 8, it's so good. It's so... It's just too good at everything. That's kind of the problem. Everything is stacked. It's too good at everything. Except they weren't useless. WW and crit just did damage, so people prioritize them. I'll have useless skills than overpowered skills. Flick over the half the players. Would he just rage quit? Yeah. It scales way too well. I disagree. Just dispel. That's the fundamental problem that some people might have. Is they will sometimes think the answer is simple. It's a spell that is designed to be countered by dispel. But if you don't have dispel, well then, perhaps the spell's too strong. It shouldn't be so it's 100% dependent on dispel being used to make it nowhere near as effective. But even if you do have dispel, this thing is currently too strong. And that says everything. With what mana? His illusions are too tanky. He can spam image until you're out. Dryads get completely ruined by him. It takes 3 times dispels for each clone. Your goal isn't to kill his illusion, it's to find the real Blade Master and burn him. Yeah, this is all sort of in an ideal world. Illusions are trash early game and OP. No, they're not even trash early game. I've been playing it and I've seen other people play it. You can use illusions to creep a lot of things and stuff like that, and they absorb so much damage, so your Blade Master doesn't have to take damage. That way he doesn't need to get the heal himself at the start, so he can tech up quicker, and etc. This has like an ongoing impact, the butterfly effect, etc. But a lot of people don't realize this stuff. I just think it's just too obnoxious in general. The player only has to press R. That's his contribution. Duh. Press R, mirror image. Now you deal with it. It's like your kid basically taking, I don't know, a box of paint or a tub of paint and just going, poof, that's him doing R. He just sprays all this paint everywhere and then gives you a paintbrush and says, oh, gives you, sorry, an eraser or whatever to get rid of it. And says, you deal with it now. It's your problem. It's a little bit easier for him to throw the paint up in the room than it is for you to clean that paint, basically, is what I'm getting at. The differential is just insane at the moment. You're spinning like 17 plates. They're spinning 1 plate, pressing R. So reduce the Blade Master's illusion damage from 20 to 15%. It shouldn't do any damage. Honestly, I didn't realize it even did 20%. I thought it was supposed to be like 5, 10, 15. But they're all at 10, 20%. That's the minimum they do. For 1v1, level 1 illusion, damage reduction from 20 to 15% is very minor. Players in 1v1 rarely pick free illusions, or not my experience. However, for free for all, 15% illusion damage is kind of like, blah, 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 nah. I agree. Oh yeah, he's about the rage quit again. The fact that it removes debuffs on top of every... Oh, did I even talk about that? The fact that it does actually remove any debuff, like a slow or a cripple or any... Even incinerate from the Firelord, etc. So any stacks of the Firelord's incinerate you've got going on the Blade Master. Say goodbye to that. Any effort you were putting into removing that Blade Master's effectiveness, say goodbye to that. It's so good. Entangle, yes. You can think of anything and everything and it just removes it. It's a god tier ability. It's basically way too good. There's a reason why we pretty much always pick it as well in balanced hero survival most of the time. Because it's just, it does everything basically. And in that, we don't even pick it for like the reasons that you pick it to tank it and stuff like that. That's just to remove the dispel and stuff. Okay. Well, that's my criticisms. Blade Master Mirror Image is a juke. Far too bloody strong. Needs to be definitely dealt with. These little buggers just popping off like crazy. You trying to deal with that? It looks obvious because you can see which ones are the real ones. Now imagine there's 3 of these guys. Right? If I pick 2 more Blade Masters. Right? This is what it looks like when you're fighting against it. There should be another one here, actually. So when you're fighting against one that's got the 3 illusions, this is what it looks like when you're fighting against it. Just that alone is intimidating. Let alone any other parts of the Orc army that are going to be behind it or in front of it or around it. Terrifying. So... I think Mirror Image definitely needs to be nerfed. And I've already explained, if you want to see, go back to the early pages of the video. This ability is just too good across the board. Mana cost is too low. Cooldown is way too low. The damage it does doesn't even need to exist, but if it did exist, it needs to do something like 5% damage, 10% damage at most. It's too much, 20%, especially once they start stacking in level, scaling from tomes that they pick up across the map, and items, and crit. Oh boy. An illusion can very easily be mistaken for the real one, to the point where I've made that mistake so many times now. It's just getting like, I was adamant that was the real one. I took damage from it. It took ages to kill. And it wasn't in the real one. So all of that time I spent trying to kill this blasted thing, I'm taking all this extra damage from his forces. It's just such a good damage mitigator on so many rounds. It's ridiculous. I've said my piece. Let me know what you think. And screw mirror image. It's too bloody good. Too bloody good.